Now, families displaced by the recent heavy rains in Umlazi's Peace section have been provided temporary shelter, and government has committed to assisting them to rebuild. KwaZulu-Natal's MEC for Cooperative Governance, Reverend Thulasizwe Buthelezi, visited the affected areas. 6 people were injured when their houses collapsed due to the heavy rains that hit the area on Friday. The latest bout of heavy rains left several homes completely destroyed in Umlazi. Those affected say they've lost everything. Reverend Buthelezi says a permanent solution must be found for those who built homes in areas that should never have been approved for housing. Buthelezi says several municipalities in the province have received disaster relief funding to help with recovery efforts. The displaced victims are being temporarily accommodated at Bayside Hotel. To talk about this, we're now joined by KwaZulu-Natal's Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Department spokesperson, Senzo Mzila. Very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, KwaZulu-Natal was issued a level 4 weather warning. As you and I speak this evening, what is the latest on the ground?
Good evening to you and good evening to your viewers. The province of KZN has experienced this week heavy rains, which were affecting mainly areas that are along the coast. These heavy rains did bring a severe disruption to our roads. Major accidents took place in a number of routes along the N2 and N3 and other roads. But also we had an incident that occurred that you've just spoken about, the one that took place in Umlazi, where several houses were damaged during a mudslide. As we speak right now, our disaster management team have been able to swiftly respond. Mop-up operations are continuing in a number of areas that have been affected. There were also communities that were affected by an outage in the supply of electricity. As a result of the storm, we can indicate that teams have been working around the clock to assist communities. This is in areas specifically within KwaZulu and some areas, of course, within the eThekwini metro.
As mop-up operations continue and with this latest bout of heavy rains leaving several homes completely destroyed, injuries, we know for one, have been recorded. Have there been any casualties?
So far we can indicate that there has been no casualty. There has though been initially when the incident happened, 6 people were admitted to hospital. 3 were discharged. Today, the MEC for Cooperative, Reverend Thulasizwe Buthelezi, conducted a visit to the affected families in Umlazi, and 3 of the people were complaining of severe pain. So they were taken by a private doctor within Umlazi for further checkups, just to ensure that they are in a better condition. But also we can indicate to you and the viewers at home that the MEC for Cooperative has also announced that the department will be working closely with Kosi in the area of Mbonyameni to try and recycle the communities or the people whose homes were completely destroyed, because that area now has been deemed as unsafe. And so the MEC is working closely with Kosi to ensure that the people that have been affected are relocated to a much safer area.
What does trying to resettle really mean? Because we know that, yes, as a government, you've committed to helping residents. Does this mean that you'll be helping them relocate and rebuild their homes elsewhere after this latest bout of rain? How will that process unfold?
Thank you so much for that. This process, how it's going to unfold, just yesterday, the MEC for Cooperative actually tabled the budget policy speech for KZN Cooperative, the 1.9 billion budget for Cooperative. And one of the programs that the MEC announced is the Cooperative Disaster Housing Program. This program is already active in the area of Nangoma, where 10 houses are being built as we speak as a result of the earth caving in and destroying a number of homes. So in that area, the government responded swiftly. We engaged with Kosi in the area of Nangoma. Zindun land was found, and the 10 families are being located there as we speak, sitting on the ground building. So a similar approach the MEC has announced that will be taken specifically concerning these families who have suffered the same, almost a similar incident here. Well, in this case here, the area that they found themselves in was an area that had a mudslide that occurred, and so now the MEC has engaged with the Mkosi Tawakwele Ngonyameni with the specific aim of ensuring that land is found and that work can begin as quickly as possible to try and ensure that these families who have gone through a very traumatic experience are able to rebuild their lives. But the support doesn't stop there as well. There are other function departments that are working closely with COPSA through the Provincial Disaster Management Center. We're speaking of departments such as SASA and Home Affairs, as these families have lost crucial documents.
Yes, very much so. And I ask you the question because in the past we've seen the impact of government's broken promises where community members were kept in safety homes or safe houses for longer periods of time with very little communication on what the next steps were. If you're looking at a time frame, if you're projecting, what are you looking at here? Hoping to move swiftly and really make do on your word?
Well, one of the approaches that the MEC has taken, MEC Buthelezi, is one of collaborating with a number of stakeholders. For example, when you was visiting today in Umlazi, a number of stakeholders were there working with the MEC, our social partners, and here we're talking about stakeholders such as Red Cross, Senzo Mzila Foundation, Unlimited Foundation, the Global Relief Fund. Specifically, these stakeholders, what they do, they give us new capacity that we would not have had previously. So with the interventions that the MEC has announced, these stakeholders are on board, they hold us accountable, and this is something that the MEC has indicated that all of these projects that have been done, specifically the aim is to ensure that they're done as quickly as possible, and this is why the MEC is engaging closely a number of stakeholders to ensure that we resettle these families who are traumatized in an area that is safe so that they can be able to continue with their life.
And how are you monitoring the unpredictability of the weather patterns as you speak about mop-up operations already underway and of course, those teams working to ensure that everyone is safe and accounted for?
Yes, well, we've got a number of platforms that the department has through the Provincial Disaster Management Center. Now, within all of our districts as a province, we've got our district disaster management centers, but also we have a number of structures that are available. Here I'm talking about our community development workers. We've got the institution of traditional leadership that we are liaising closely with. This is for the specific aim of disseminating information whenever these warnings do come through. And the department is working closely with the weather service to ensure that early warning systems are activated and are constantly on the alert. As we speak right now, the MEC, in fact, has also been making the call to residents across the province to ensure that these warnings that are issued through reliable platforms such as the SABC are heeded to.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. KwaZulu-Natal's Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Department spokesperson Senzo Mzila giving us an update on the latest on the impact of flooding and heavy rainfall in KwaZulu-Natal.